I was the invisible engineer who kept their servers alive for 8 years until they fired me over a $500 expense report. So I opened my laptop, reviewed the licenses they never read, and sent them an invoice that made their board fire the CTO who fired me. For 8 years, I was the ghost in the machine at TechCore Industries in Austin. While everyone else got credit for flashy launches, I was the one keeping everything running at 3 a.m. when the servers crashed. I didn't mind being invisible. I just wanted to build good code and go home. Then James Harrison showed up as our new CTO. Fresh MBA, zero coding experience, but lots of opinions about modernizing our technical operations. Translation: he wanted to look important by changing things that already worked perfectly. One Tuesday morning, he cornered me at my desk. "We need to discuss this $500 purchase you made last month. I bought a monitoring tool with my own credit card because our procurement department was taking forever," I explained. "It had already prevented 2 major outages. I submitted the expense report. It's pending." "Not anymore," he said, smiling like he just won something. "Using personal funds is a serious violation. I'm terminating you effective immediately. Security will escort you out." 8 years, gone over $500. As the security guard walked me to the elevator, something cold clicked into place in my mind. They thought $500 was worth throwing me away. They had no idea what they just bought themselves. I went straight to my lawyer friend, Sarah. Over coffee, I pulled up my personal GitHub account and showed her dozens of code libraries I'd written on my own time, on my own laptop, with very specific licenses. "These are all integrated into TechCore systems," I explained. "I release them as open source for personal use, but commercial use requires a paid license." Sarah's eyes went wide as she read the terms. "And they've been using these in production for 3 years, every single day. I have the logs to prove it. We calculated the licensing fees based on their usage. Conservative estimate, $2.6 million. This is beautiful," Sarah said. "But are you sure this will burn every bridge?" They already lit the match. The next week was entertaining. I watched from the outside as TechCore systems started falling apart. Without me there to fix things, their deployment pipeline crashed. Their payment system leaked memory. Everything I quietly maintained for years started breaking. James called me twice. I let both go to voicemail. On Monday morning, Sarah sent the demand letter. $2.6 million for 3 years of unlicensed commercial use of my code. James called again. "This is extortion." "No," I said calmly. "This is contract law. You've been using my software without paying for it. The invoice reflects actual usage. The company can't just write a check for millions. Should have thought of that before you saved $500 on my reimbursement." Over the next 2 weeks, TechCore's situation got desperate. They tried to remove my code but couldn't. Their entire infrastructure had grown around it like a tree around a fence. Every attempt to replace it caused more outages. Their stock price dropped 11%. The board called an emergency meeting. 3 weeks after firing me, they agreed to pay. But here's the part that made everything worth it. The board fired James the same day, effective immediately, for gross mismanagement and causing millions in damages. They wanted me back as an employee. I said no. Instead, I now license my code to them like any other vendor. $400,000 a year plus consulting fees. The best part, James got hired at Meta Solutions 6 months later. They're one of my new clients. I made sure to send them a very thorough invoice. 2 years later, I run my own software licensing company, 27 clients and counting. I set my own hours, name my own price, and never worry about expense reports. That $500 tool I bought is still running, now monitoring systems for dozens of companies. It's generated over $800,000 in value, preventing outages. I keep the original expense report framed in my office, DENIED stamped in red. A reminder that sometimes getting fired is just the universe telling you were worth a lot more than they were paying. They thought $500 could bury me. Instead, it set me free. Their loss, my fortune. And somewhere in a business school, James is probably teaching future executives about strategic technical investment. I hope he mentions the $500.